Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Team Gravity Fight Nights. My name is Fear Dragon, and today I'm joined here by Droopy. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, and it's going to be really exciting to cast with you for the first time, Fear Dragon. I likened this to be a first date of sorts, so
Oh,
we'll see
well,
how it goes.
you look so lovely. I love what you've done with your hair.
Thank you. It actually took a lot less time than you'd think. Let's just leave it at that.
Well, I
Oh
think
man.
now is a great time to go out for a movie date, movie dinner date, and we got a great movie coming up for you guys. We're gonna be watching the movie. Maybe some of you have heard of it. It's called Astrea versus Moosegills. That's actually the prequel. We're gonna be following it up with the sequel, which is Nathanias versus Destiny, and the finale. Actually, it's the end of the trilogy. It's actually going to be the lovely Supernova versus Patience. So, I don't know, Droopy, how you feeling about this today?
I think we're going to have some amazing players today. And this, you talk about watching this trilogy here. I think it's going to be better than the other trilogy everyone always thinks of, Lord of the Rings. Who needs that? This is how you kick off a first date for sure.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, you know what? Who needs Helm's Deep when you got Nathanius and Destiny duking it out, right?
Exactly. So we're going to start off first here with Astrea versus Moosegills, and these preliminary matches are best of five. And I believe the prize pool for these two games or matches will be $10, I believe, the winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$10 for the preliminary matches, and the final match is going to be for $60 for first place, and the loser will still get $20. So still a pretty nice thing to take away.
Yep, absolutely. And well, this is the second Fight Night event, guys. So if you missed the first Fight Night event, which was this past Sunday, so I guess a week ago, and it was casted by Fear Dragon right here, as well as Axel Toss. Both gentlemen did a fantastic job. If you missed it, you need to rectify that mistake by clicking on the video section here on Team Gravity's Hitbox channel. The video section will have the video from last week. You guys can check that out and, well, get up to speed.
Indeed, and it's very, very simple. I also recommend you guys actually go ahead and sign up for Hitbox if you get an opportunity to. You may have already noticed there's all kinds of cool things happening on Hitbox. Actually, if you're watching this through the TL calendar and you're still on the Team Liquid site, I'd really recommend you actually click through to the actual Hitbox website and give it a shot because there's all kinds of crazy stuff happening in the chat. We have GIFs. Like, actually, you could just post a GIF in the chat. It's not like a link to the GIF. It's actually the GIF itself. We got polls going for like who you want to win and everything. We got all kinds of random like hitbox emotes going on. There's its own version of Kappa, which is quite entertaining, as well as actually a subscribe button if you do want to support Team Gravity Fight Nights and help see more of these actually end up happening. So support Hitbox for helping make some of these show matches possible.
Yeah, if you guys are just watching this from Team Liquid, you're going to feel a little lonely. There's a huge party going on in the chat, so like Fear Dragon said, you definitely don't want to miss out on that one. And just again about last week's Fight Night, if you guys missed it, we had a lot of great players there. The headline event was Journey versus Hydra, so we know those players are obviously extremely talented. And we also had some big names too for the preliminaries as well. I believe Fear Dragon, who were they again? They were Puck
Oh
and
yeah, it was
QXC.
Puck and QXC, and oh my God, Droopy, I gotta say, man, you're gonna have to change your name after you watch that series because it was phenomenally awesome. It actually ended up being well, I won't give the spoilers, but I will say game number two of that series was probably my favorite series in a very long time, favorite game in a very long time. It was an astoundingly awesome game. But we also saw Kane versus Hearthstone was also a very mind-gamey, weird series. But you know what? Dude, we got a series right in front of us that's actually we already are in game number one, so we can go ahead and jump in and introduce the players.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So once again, guys, this is a best of five, and whoever wins this will be receiving $10 and some brownie points to go with that. So we are going to have what looks like a PVZ, of course. It's going to be on Overgrowth LE to start. These players determine the map based on vetoes, and I'll talk about the first player here. He's going to be the pink Protoss on the upper right-hand side of Overgrowth LE, guys. This is the player from Root Gaming, and as I just found out 10 minutes ago, he actually lives 10 minutes away from me. So I don't know if he is happy about that or disturbed by that, but we'll see. This is going to be, guys, from Root Gaming, the pink Protoss. Astrea. And Fear Dragon can introduce to us the other player.
Indeed, spawning down in the bottom left-hand corner of the map is going to be the orange Zerg player representing Team Complexity. It is going to be the very own Complexity Moosegills.
Very nice, very nice. And well, so far we're gonna have a
So,
bit.
Droopy,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I have a question. Are you going to plan to head over to Astrea's house after this and go high-five him if he
If
ends up winning? Go comfort him if he ends up losing?
Hmm. I don't know. We'll see.
You have the
But
capabilities now, man.
I'll tell you what. If he wins and he gets $10, I'll go to his place so you can treat me to dinner. I'm up for that.
I like the way you think,
I'm up
man.
for
I
that.
like the way you
Yeah.
think. Oh,
Yep.
well, PVZ, very fun matchup. I know that Overgrowth also. It's oh my god. We can't even talk about normal things here today, Drew. The players don't even want to give us a chance to. Moosegills going for the proxy hatch out the natural.
Yes, yes. So far, Astrea, well, what's he going to do in response to that? So far, he's building a couple buildings in his base. Got a gateway and a forge pylon. So will he want to try to maybe deny this with a cannon? We'll see. But so far, Moosegill's not canceling that hatchery just yet.
Very interesting. We actually end up seeing Astrea go for the Cybernex core before any kind of cannons before. Well, I guess he does get the cannon down eventually. But yeah, I feel like Moosegills is fine with not canceling this. Yeah, it doesn't end up canceling this. The thing is, unless you have 2 photon cannons there, the hatchery will still be able to do quite a bit. It'll be able to get out a lot of larvae. It'll be able to get full crease spread. And even with the Zealot poking away over here, the big problem is that this Wallen is not going to be complete for quite a bit of time. So Moosegills has plenty of time for his spawning pool to finish up and then to send some Zerglings across the map.
Yeah, and I think, you can rationalize it too as well. I lose the 350 minerals that's put into the hatchery and the drone associated with it, but at the same time, I'm blocking the Nexus. I'm keeping Astrea from being able to expand himself. So, if you do the math on it, it could be worth it.
Yeah, very important that Moosegills did not lose that Overlord. That I think actually a bit of a mistake. Moosegills had that Overlord popping out at the natural expansion. Maybe it was just like the most ingenious method to get an extra Overlord for scouting on there later on that side of the map. But, well, hatchery does go down and Zealots gonna survive. Nice little bit of micro from Astrea to keep that extra Zealot alive though.
Yeah, so the hatchery does go down, but we're still gonna have to watch the creep proceed. And as Fear Dragon mentioned, that's gonna put another dent into Astrea's intent on trying to expand at some point. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this probe over here from Astrea, though, scouting around for the 3rd, and it's actually not going to see anything. And part of the reason for that is because there's actually just a lot of Zerglings being made right now. Zergling speed has also been on the way for a little bit. Moosegills maybe actually just looking to follow us up with more aggression, and he's kind of hiding the Zerglings, but they're going to be revealed very soon with these Zealots coming in.
Yeah, right now Moosegills has his speed going. In fact, it's going to be done in about 20 seconds or so. But these Lings are already going to have to find something to attack before that. They're going to surround these Zealots very quickly. And Astrea loses them without really being able to do much with the Zealots at all.
Oh, man. Well, even though speed does finish up after the Zerg, or after all the Zealots are cleaned up, just want to note that Astrea did scout the Gas Geyser earlier on, so should know about that. Pylon over here from Astrea. Maybe looking to be a bit cheeky and put on some aggression later on. Does get picked off. Probe does manage to escape with its life, and Moosegill's not really interested in chasing it down right now, it seems. Looks like, well, actually, maybe he is.
It looks like right now we are going to have that 3rd start going for Moosegills, and Astrea is going to have his Nexus on the way, but it's only less than halfway done at 7:23. So far, Moosegills in his delay plan is, benefiting for it. Right now, he's going to be, just trying to drone up here and continue to boost that economic lead that he's been building.
Yeah, and I want to ask you something, Droopy. How do you feel about where Moosegills is going to be sitting at the end of all that? He made so many Zerglings, and honestly, it ended up being a lot more Zerglings than he needed to defend against the 3 Zealots. Do you feel like he's going to be feeling kind of a bit further behind, or like he's going to be behind on, say, tech or anything?
Well,
I don't know. How do you feel in this situation?
The benefit, of course, with going Zerglings, well, there's always a disadvantage, which is you use a lot of larvae on it. But What you can do with it is deny any attempt from the Protoss to make a third, and almost sort of maybe convince the Toss to go for a 2-base timing attack. And then a lot of this game is about just trying to make your opponent do something predictable. And when you can do that, you can kind of control the outcome a lot more easily. So Moosegills with his Lings, you know, he can get some map control there. He can, you know, just make sure he scouts things that are coming. Like, for example, these sentries right here.
Yeah, the sentry's gonna be moving across the map. And speaking about predictable, I gotta say, Astrea doing one of the most tried and true things that a Protoss player can do. God, this strategy has been so popular for such a long period of time. I thought it was fading out of existence, but apparently not. +2 Blink Stalkers going to be the option for Astrea. So this is going to be a bit of an early pressure. I mean, there's no proxy pylon followed up behind this. This is sort of a, I'm going to force Moosegills to make a lot of units and be scared, but look at this. Moosegills not buying into it in the slightest. Got 9 drones on the way right now. Does have a couple of roaches just for safety, defensive precautions, but not really overproducing units right now.
Yeah, Moosegills should recognize that this is a very big possibility, the Blink Stalker that is. He did see that the Twilight Council was under production. Didn't see what it was, of course, didn't see if it was researching something, but it's reasonable at this point in the game to think, okay, it's going to be a 2-base timing attack. He has a Twilight Council. There's only so many things he can do. So preparing with roaches is, well, just about how you would deal with this exactly.
Yeah, I also want to note creep spread looking pretty gosh darn good for Moosegills. I mean, it's already about halfway across the map, and that's going to delay this push by a little bit just because Astrea has to be so careful. Because normally, if you have Blink Stalkers, you can do things like blink away for the retreat. But if you're on creep for such a long period of time, those roaches or zerglings can actually catch up with your Blink Stalkers. You're still going to end up losing a couple of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So the one thing that Astrea is going to have to try to rely on here is an upgrade advantage. And right now we are about to see +2 attack finishing up for him, which will give him a 2-level upgrade advantage over Moosegills. So if there's a time for him to make some kind of move with the units he's already made, it would be very soon, within maybe the next 40 seconds or so.
I definitely agree with you there, man, and I think that Astrea is probably going to agree with you as well. Third expansion is going up for Astrea, so wants to make sure that that doesn't get canceled, allows himself a little bit of time to get up the Photon Cannon and the Gateway Ballon that a lot of Pros players really, really love to do on this map. Wouldn't be too surprised to see Astrea do that here as well, but look at what Moosegills has got in the pipeline. Not only that gold expansion going up, but I mean, we got Burrow and Tunneling Claws coming in. This could be a really, really cool response.
Yeah, and it looks like
not lose the roaches, though.
Oh, roaches walking into a very hostile welcome, but you know, you can call that as an advanced scout too, I suppose, because he is gonna have his feature presentation going over here on the third base, guys.
Yeah, it's an expensive advanced scout though, man. You have to pay a premium for that. There was no senior discount or anything like that. No student discounts coming either. Moosegills is gonna have to be careful. Gonna go after the destructible Debris. That I kind of like that decision. Just kind of open up more avenues for units to get there. And honestly, as long as he's being aggressive, this is really cool because the gold expansion is gonna be pretty safe. Because Astrea is limited to protecting this third expansion right now. Can't really be aggressive on the other side of the map if he's being attacked right now.
All right, Force Field zoning out those roaches and lings as best as they can. The Stalkers, though, are starting to fall. We're going to have to see some good blinks here from Astrea, but he blinks all of them back at once, which leaves the sentries exposed, and each one of them is going to go down, save for 2. But Moosegills backing off of that Photon Overcharge. Third Nexus is now going to go for the natural. Will he be able to take out some good structures here?
The Cybernetics core goes down. That means that no more Stalkers going to be warped in. That was the big thing that Astrea invested into. Going for the Blink Stalkers was obviously one of his big plans right now. But after losing all the sentries, that means it's just Zealot warp-ins now. The Stalkers kind of floundering, not really sure what to do at this point.
Yeah, we're seeing one Colossus being made right now by Astrea. Not sure if that's going to be in time to deal with this, as Moosegills is getting in a lot of damage here on the natural. May even take out the Nexus.
Oh man, the Zealots trying to get into the front lines. The Blink Stalkers finally blinking back and allowing them there. But these roaches, I mean, it's just pure roach zergling production coming out of Moosegills right now. And this is not exactly a bad situation for Moosegills. I mean, sure, it doesn't have a whole lot of other tech, but do you really need it when you've got a gold expansion? You got 4 bases and you still got a relatively okay drone count.
Yeah, and there's the GG. Astrea losing a lot of his army here and, well, not being able to defend much more else. and that's going to be that. So, Moosegills, we'll take game number one here, and we're going to head into game number two soon. And I guess you can call that match point. Oh, no, it's not. Never mind. It's
No,
best of
no,
five.
a best of five. But you
Best of
know what
five.
was?
Failed my counting.
Yeah, no worries, Droopy, because you know what? There was a best of three that these two players actually played relatively recently, as recent as like the past 2 weeks when they were playing in the WCS America qualifiers. They actually hit each other in the brackets once, and Astrea actually managed to take that series 2-0, and I believe that was also one of the series that Astrea actually qualified for WCS Challenger League through. I believe, and maybe somebody in the chat can correct me if I'm totally wrong on this. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Uh, but a 2-0 victory for Astrea. Moosegills kind of returned the favor. Maybe after having played that series, I was like, wait a second. I know what happened in that series. I'm not going to let that happen again. And actually does some really interesting stuff there, right? Like not only going for the tunneling clause and everything, but delays any kind of other lair tech that a Zerg player would normally go for and goes for that hyper aggression off of 4 bases. How often do you see a Zerg player still making only Zerglings and Roaches on 4 bases against a 3 base Protoss player that's, trying to get up Colossus and Blink and all this other stuff? It was a really cool style out of Moosegills.
Well, I think it was a good and proper reaction to what he knew Astrea was going for, especially after scouting that Twilight Council. So you know that,
Yeah.
hey, like Roaches by themselves, generally speaking, are stronger than a Stalker. Obviously, upgrades can, change that. But if I know my opponent's just making Blink Stalkers and will most likely be doing so for pretty much a long time, hey, I'll just go for one big Roach-based attack and just try to overwhelm you. That's exactly how it played out.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely was digging it, man, and it worked out pretty gosh darn well. So we're going to be going into game number 2 on the map, King Sejong Station. But really quickly, I do want to remind you guys that there's a lot of people being active in the chat right now. We also actually just had Zenmeg, who subscribed to the Team Gravity Fight Night channel. Thank you so much, Zenmeg, for subscribing. That is going to be supporting. That is going to be supporting Team Gravity and the show matches and everything else going on.
I'm laughing because Zen is one of the managers on Team Gravity. So yes, thank you,
right?
Zen, as a manager of Team Gravity, subscribing to Team Gravity's channel.
That was
Actually,
the secret part. That was the part I wasn't going to mention. But yeah, if you do want to support and see more of these kind of show matches, as we do have not only Moosegills versus Astrea, oh my god, I had a bit of a dirt moment there. Hopefully none of the players have that during the game. Don't forget who they're facing. But, if you want to see more of these kind of players playing, as well as Nathanius and Destiny playing, as well as Supernova versus Patience playing later on, subscribing to the channel does help support and make some more of these events possible. And just registering for Hitbox and kind of showing your support, as they are one of the title sponsors for the Team Gravity Fight Night show matches, also is a really great way to encourage this to happen a bit more and, tell your friends about it.
Yeah, and if you have any ideas for what kind of players you want to see in future fight nights and stuff, feel free, please, to tweet at Team Grav and let Team Gravity know. Let us know what you guys want, and we're doing this really for the community to put on some events and hopefully just build up more support for this game, this wonderful game. So. Whatever you guys want, this is for you.
Indeed, but with that being said, Trooper, we're going to be getting ready to jump into game number 2. Once again, Moosegills versus Astrea, with Moosegills leading it up 1-0 on the map King Sejong Station. Let's go ahead and jump in to introduce the players as we spawn down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, top of the blue Protoss player, representing Team Root for Root. It is Astrea.
And on the upper left-hand side, we do have the winner of the previous game, looking to try to continue his good start here in winning this best of 5 and taking away my dinner tonight, evidently. This is going to be the player representing Complexity Gaming, guys, on the upper left-hand side. It's the Orange Zerg, Moosegills.
Man, so I'm enjoying the idea of, you messaging Astrea between the games and being like, look, dude, here's what you did wrong over there. Here's what you need to make sure doesn't happen the next game, man. Come on, man. I'm rooting for you. I'm root for Root right now, man.
No, I don't have time for that. I'm actually just giving him ideas for where we should go for dinner. He's got a Chipotle in his area. I know that. I've been there before.
Dude, Chipotle, man. Every day I eat Chipotle. It's so good.
Yeah. And there's also a soup plantation. I don't know if you have any in
Oh
your
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know Soup
Okay.
Plantation. It's a good
Okay,
place
yeah.
too.
So there's a lot of options. So we'll discuss that after.
I don't know, man. You got to be careful though, because we do have. I think actually was that a 14 pool coming out? Yeah, 14 pool coming out from Moosegills. Nothing super duper crazy, but King Sejong Station, one of those maps that honestly, as a Protoss player, sometimes defending a third expansion on this map can be very difficult. And considering how aggressive Moosegills was in that last game, putting the pressure on that third expansion of Astrea, Astrea's gonna have to figure out some sort of way to defend that third, I think. Unless Astrea goes for like a two-base all-in. Of course, then you don't have to worry about your third, right?
Well, there's one other big variable in the previous game too, and that was that hatch block. So without that, Astrea can, adhere to a more standard opening, and
Yeah.
basically any two-base timing that you can actually do on time would be a lot better than, what ended up happening in the previous game. So we'll see if Astrea decides to go with another two-base timing attack, given what you said, Fear Dragon, about that third. But also, I guess the ball's in Moosegills' court here too, early game. Looks like he is going to go for gas after that hatchery expansion. So I would expect him to start grabbing speed as soon as possible. And then, of course, it's going to be down to that third timing too, to see if the Zerg decides to, play more aggressively or just stick to a more standard opening.
Yeah, definitely. And Astrea is one of those players also that has a lot of tools in his belt. I mean, I've seen Astrea go for really strong, long macro games. I've seen him go for, quite frankly, really cheesy all-ins, and heck, even like all kinds of crazy. I think I've seen him proxy 2K at least once or twice before. But that's one of the best parts about playing a Protoss as a race, is that you do have that wide range of opportunities and builds that you can really go for. But for now, kind of interesting placement on this pylon. What do you think about it? That's still going to be a kind of hard wall in to make, right? Without the pylon being a part of it.
Yeah, it almost seems like he does want to use that as part of the wall. I guess, for the beginning, it's kind of okay. I mean, this is a pretty wide choke to try to, board up. But yeah, it does look like he's going to do that. He's got an additional gateway now being started on the bottom. He has Warp Gate being researched right now. He is mining double gas, so it will be soon time for him to put down some kind of tech. Although for now, he's just building additional gateways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really like this probe from Astrea. Actually moves into the natural, just barely, and sees, okay, I don't see the creep there, so I know you didn't go for a hatch first. Then moves back around and sneaks the probe in around, like goes a very, very long, drawn-out route to avoid it, kind of any detection, and then sneaks it back in to say, okay, I saw the third, and you still haven't seen my probe at all. It's going to make it a lot easier for Astrea to hide that.
Yep, so there's that proxy pylon, and he's even going to go kill that.
Wow.
That's what he just killed there. That's our dinner tonight. He's gonna barbecue that or something. I don't know.
He's ready, man.
he's already like Droopy. This is what we're having. So
Gonna put that in my burrito, man.
Is that a Ursidac? Is what those are called? Those animals?
Ursidac?
Let's see if I can find another one on the map right now. Let's not look at the game. Let's just look for the animals in the game's secondary.
I'll give you the time to do that right now, man, because right now we do have the Mothership Core moving across the map. There is also this probe over here that's going to be able to help support with the 3 Zealots being warping in a pylon very, very close. I want to know if this is still out of vision range, but the Queen, if it chases after the Mothership Core, it's going to see what's coming, and I think immediately Moosegills knows what's going to be heading his way.
All right, well, the 3 Zealots may be enough to just buy that pylon a little bit more time, and they will be able to, but the Lynx continue on forward and find the first pylon. So that's going to be of great help to Moosegills killing that off. But now there's a bunch of Zealots in the third. We're going to see this Queen very likely die. But what about the third?
Yeah. The third is actually going to be relatively vulnerable too, because the Roachborn is only just now coming up. Moosegills actually did not have any idea about this coming up. The pylon is actually going to be the target for Moosegills right now. Just sacrificing the third at this point, realizing it was destined to go down at this point.
Yeah, and there's that recall. So basically, Astrea is now, well, back at home in the safe confines of that natural, and Moosegills down a base.
Gonna be feeling good after that one, Droopy. Astrea got a robotics facility behind this. It's gonna be able to get out some Observer or Immortals, just really tech up and start thinking about, you know what, I can either do a follow-up push with sentries and immortals and a handful of stalkers, or I can just start thinking about taking a third if my opponent overproduces units. That's actually there's so much capacity for different things that Astrea can do from here, and Moosegills kind of has to make the decision. What do I do? Do I make units, or do I retake the third and maybe even take a fourth right now?
Yeah, that's always the toughest thing for Zerg is what to use your larva for and when to do it. Looks like he already actually has a Hydraless Den, so he wants to go with Roaches and Hydras here. Can he afford to, though, without a third? It's going to be difficult, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, Hydraling may be a decent composition to help deal with this. I mean, this is like a fairly standard kind of follow-up push that Astrea is going for after the 4-gate, so it's not too surprising to anticipate. So Moosegills may be kind of thinking, well, the Hydrals can deal with the, sentries and everything, and Force Steel's not quite as effective against Hydrals just because Hydrals still have a fairly long range once they get that Groove Spines upgrade. So maybe this could still work out for the defensive play for Moosegills if he takes out a lot of these sentries. You know what? Maybe it looks like he's coming back in the game.
Yeah, I would say so, especially with Defender's Advantage, just the reinforcements coming quickly for him. We'll see how these lanes do right now, and, well, Astrea just hit the abort button right there.
Get the heck out of there, but now the big question is going to be, does Moosegills continue to put the pressure on the third? I feel like you have to at this point. If you've made all of these units, I mean, still sitting at only 51 drones, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Moosegills, without having that third for so long, he's kind of fallen behind in the drone count for a bit. Now he's just caught back up. But basically, yeah, he's put his economy second here for the last couple minutes. And at this point, he needs to do what he can to try to limit the economic advantage that the toss would have. But looks like Astrea is quick to the punch there, defending that third base, which is now armed with a Colossus there.
Yeah, Astrea also positioning himself pretty well, ready to defend that third, but also has those sentries close enough to, help defend that natural expansion if there's any kind of big Zergling run by. But look at this, Moosegills trying to get a little bit creative, going after those backdoor destructible rocks, seeing whatever damage he can really get done.
Yeah, I think just wearing down those back rocks for now, and hey, if he can even lure some of Astrea's units more than he should put there, that'd be even better. And now these Hydras are completely out of the range of those Stalkers on the high ground, so those rocks are going down for sure.
Yeah, this has all been one kind of big way, though, for Astrea to buy more time. I mean, they got the gateway wall up going over at the third. That's going to make it a lot more difficult to break. Now, suddenly, Astrea doesn't have to defend 2 big choke points. Just has to defend 1 and be careful about those backdoor destructible rocks.
Ooh, there is a Warp Prism attack going on in the main base right now. Zealots being warped to that lair, and they will be able to take out this Queen, I would think. Oh, no, they just let it slip away, and the Zealots not going to be able to kill much more now that the Lings have arrived. So that was a lucky slip away from that Queen. Something interesting, though, Fear Dragon, is that there is a Spire transition that's happened here. We got some Mutas coming out to try to defend that Zealot. Perhaps he should have hit these, or I guess he really wanted to kill the Warp Prism, but if he hit these long... Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Like, I think that, especially like for a Protoss player, if you just get caught off guard by the Mutas transition, it can actually just be GG sometimes. But, there's always the fear about that Warp Prism coming back in, especially with the +1 weapons having been researched for Astrea. There's no carapace upgrades, so if you're just relying on those Zerglings for the defense and maybe like a couple Hydras, it can get a little bit dangerous if you just leave that Warp Prism alive. So I like the decision to pick it off.
All right, so these Mutas are just poking in and out of this natural right now. Going to try to take out the cannons as quickly as they can. All the other anti-air army units have returned to defend it, though. But one thing Moosegills really needs to do is he needs to put on the pressure now and just keep his foot on the pedal. Reason being is that he's falling behind in upgrades. He's spending a lot on these Mutas, and if he cannot make this worth it, well, it's going to be a pretty rough late game for him.
Could not agree more, Droopy. And we do end up seeing that Moosegills still kind of delaying those upgrades and saying, you know what? Quantity over quality, Droopy, because it's going for the 4th and 5th expansions, but it's going to be pretty well spread out. So I am a little bit concerned with the Dark Shrine coming up, and even actually the Phoenix production now starting to deal with the Mutalisk. We could end up seeing some really, really strong attacks from Astrea.
Yeah, I think another thing to point out too is Moosegills has a lot of minerals to work with right now. So we see him taking a 5th base, but he might even want to take a 6th with that amount. because he's lacking gas right now, and what he really needs is to be mining gas on every single base that he can, and then really just catch up on the upgrades and be able to give himself an opportunity in the late game. Because right now, this isn't going to be able to last very long if he doesn't.
Hmm. Yeah, it's really becoming a big concern. I mean, +2 weapons finished up, +1 armor on the way right now for the Protoss army of Astrea. These mutalisks are starting to get into a pretty decent number, though. I like the fact that Moosegills has had pretty good control of these mutalisks, kept them alive for such a long period of time, and actually investing into the mutalist upgrade over anything else. Kind of an interesting decision. No corruptors on the way either, considering how many Phoenix there are. Sort of a weird decision.
Yeah, I mean, these are real Phoenix now, not the hallucinated kind. That's the scariest thing that mutas can see. But we also have some DTs out now from Astrea, and he sent them after this fourth base over here on the upper right.
Yeah,
this one DT, only 2 kills so far, but he's starting to work on these drones, and with every kill there.
That one at the fourth or the third, though, up to 11 kills, 12 kills, still picking away. I don't think Moosegills really realized that the DT was there for quite a while, because, I mean, no drones are pulled or anything. Finally gets cleaned up, but at the end of the day, this other DT of the fourth still doing damage, and 21 workers killed.
Yeah, this is a rough last 2 minutes here for Moosegills, and he's definitely down on the worker supply now, but he's still working with a lot of resources here. It all comes down to how he spends this. If he spends it wisely, he'll have a chance, but otherwise, we're going to see things start winding down here because Astrea now is pushing forward with his massive army, and it's all going to counter mutas, guys.
Oh man, but it's almost like the base trade is going to be the response from Moosegills over here. But a lot of zealots and cannons over here. I don't think that the zealot run by is going to, or sorry, the Zergling run by is going to work. They don't have any upgrades. They're going up against +2 weapon zealots, and they just getting massacred. Sure, the Hydrils are still there, but I mean, Moosegills is going to end up losing this third, possibly lose the fourth, and then it's going to be once again a 3-base Moosegills versus what, a heavily upgraded Protoss army?
Yeah, and you know what? Just these Phoenix alone are going to be able to deal with the Sky Zerg. There's absolutely zero answer for the ground force of Astrea over here at this third base. It's almost like Moosegills has given up on it. Not that he has any other choice. And now he's going to try to, see what he can do with this counter, but it's going to be very dicey here for the Zerg.
Oh my god. Those DTs cleaning up so many Hydros. The Phoenix need to be careful about how well they're micro, but I mean, they're honestly doing a pretty good job. It's very difficult to do, but Astrea is able to do it and takes game number 2, tying up the series 1-1.
Yep, Astrea knowing, man, Droopy's counting on me. He's going to be hungry after fight night because it's so many amazing games that are going to be coming up. He's going to really be exhausted. I got to do my darndest to make sure he is well compensated. So
You're doing your part, Droopy. You're doing your part, man.
Yes.
But I think you're not alone in thinking that Astrea may be the favor, as we do actually have a poll in the chat for Hitbox, actually. If you want to go ahead and register, you can vote in the actual poll. But Astrea currently favored at 70% over Moosegills at 30%. So I'm not going to say that, Moosegills is still a very, very strong player. I mean, we saw that in game number 1, able to take that game pretty handily. But Astrea definitely a very, very solid player. A WCS Challenger League player. So very interested to see what's going to be happening in game number 3. And oh my god. Oh god. Droopy. Game number 3. Going to be happening on Merry-Go-Round. That's going to be a very frustrating fight for Astrea. Because, I don't know. You know what? I want to hear your thoughts on Merry-Go-Round. As a Protoss player.
It's all about that third base. That's what it all comes down to. And you know what? Given that it's always, of course, loser picking the next map, you have to think like whoever lost is gonna, pick one to their advantage. And for sure, Merry-Go-Round is something that is gonna help Moosegills a bit here. So I would expect Astrea to play, perhaps to try to just nip the game in the bud a little sooner. Go with a nice 2-base timing, of course, pending what Moosegills decides to do early game, but try to make sure you can get in damage, because last game Astrea was able to take out that third base. That changed everything. That really made things so much easier for him, and I would expect him to attempt the very same thing here.
Exactly. I mean, you think about how that worked out. Kills off the third, and then a bunch of units are produced, but the recall happens, and Astrea just kind of goes and says, well, time to get my Robo up and my Immortal. Actually, no, the Robo was already finished by the time the recall actually happened because, Astrea's already ready and transitioning out a little bit. Goes for the follow-up push, but is also good for the third expansion. And Moosegills is never able to make retaliation damage happen. Even with that follow-up push, Moosegills is super prepared for it, but the recall just happens again. And now there's just, again, more units produced that weren't drones, that weren't invested into the economy, that just get completely wasted because they can't do anything. So I think the difference, actually, I would say, between Game 1 and Game 2 is how effective the units that Moosegills made were once they were produced. In Game 1, he was able to make these Zerglings and Roaches and able to get them over to the third and really just start picking away at the sentries and the stalkers, etc. In Game 2, whenever Moosegills is making units, there would just be a defensive mechanism to defend against some kind of big push from Astrea, and then they would just kind of sit around and not be useful, right? You wish that they were drones. So I think that's going to be something that Moosegills going to have to try and figure out how to do in this game.
Yeah, and so far the theme seems to be, well, who can deny whose expansion early game? And whoever was able to do it was the person with the advantage at the end. So let's see if that theme continues here. It's going to be on merry-go-round LE, guys. Scores tied 1-1. So this is going to be a big momentum changer right here in this game number 3 for this best of 5 to win $10 and the right to treat Droopy to dinner. So let's see who players are going to be. We're going to have the purple Protoss guy spawning on the upper right-hand side here. He is a player for Root Gaming. And after a tough game number 1, he was able to fight back in game 2. Let's see if he can continue that good play here. So this is, ladies and gentlemen, going to be Astrea.
And Astrea's opponent spawning up in the top left-hand corner of the map as the orange Zerg player. Won game number 1, but needs to make sure that he can not repeat game number 2. It's going to be Complexity Gaming's Moosegills.
Yes, so, well, what are your thoughts about merry-go-round, Fear Dragon? Because you did ask me for mine, so got to reciprocate.
Yeah,
here.
no, you know what? It was actually very similar to yours. And really quickly, as a side note, I want to give a shout out to Tibbs87. Thank you for subscribing and supporting Team Gravity Fight Nights and the show matches. But, merry-go-round is one of those maps that normally I would say the Zerg player wants to try and play out a slightly longer game and defend against a 2-base all-in. But Moosegills doesn't agree with me, because I think that we ended up seeing a fairly fast spawning pool, right? Was that a 13 pool or a 12 pool with a gas?
Yeah, because it's pretty far along, and he's been mining gas on this extractor. In fact, he's about to have 80 mined from it very soon. And I do not see him continuing to drone here. I do not see him making an expansion. So,
Oh, I think that this is going to be a big round of Zerglings coming up relatively soon with speed. And the objective of this attack with these Zerglings is going to be stop the natural from going down. Really get in Astrea's face about that. And if you can disrupt a Protoss from taking their natural, oh my god. Can you talk about how unbelievably frustrating it is as a Protoss player to try and take your natural and then suddenly have it shut down? And even if you survive and defend, and even if you trade effectively, you feel so in the dark. It's so hard to get actual information on what your opponent's doing.
Oh yeah, so vulnerable. You don't even know if you can leave your base, much less try to take an expansion. And then it's even worse when you find out you didn't wall anything, and like Astrea isn't right now. So he's gonna have these Zerglings right up in his grill very soon.
Natural expansion is coming down for Moosegills behind this, but for now, the big concern is going to be all these Zerglings streaming across the map. Still got another 20 or so seconds, 25 seconds until speed actually finishes up, but these Zerglings, surprise. Oh, I guess he's going to wait for the remainder of the Zerglings to pop out and then go for a cancel on the... Oh, is he waiting for the natural to complete before jumping on it? No, okay.
That is possible, or not. But there is a Mothership core out. That will definitely help a lot. And I would like to see Astrea start making some units. There we go. There's that Stalker on the way now. Let's see if Astrea does cancel this. He is already going to be without shield if this Nexus finishes and then more.
I think,
I believe he's going to cancel that. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with the pylon wall and going up at that natural. I mean, the Mothership core is going to be there to try and pick away at these Zerglings, but Honestly, if there's no other units, I mean, there's one Stalker now over there, so gonna be able to at least delay a little bit, but oh, this is gonna get a bit dangerous right now.
This is dicey for sure. The Stalker is starting to lose its health surely but slowly, and but these Lings are, well, not able to break through. They actually have to back off.
Yeah.
So the pylon wall serving its purpose there for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one note behind this that, of course, when you invest in all those Zerglings, not only are you not investing into drones, but you're also not investing into tech or anything. There was no gas being mined, so not going to have like a fast lair coming up, not going to have a super duper fast third, although I guess there is a potential for Moosegills to try and grab a third right now. But I want to go back to what I was talking about, what we were talking about earlier on, about Astrea and kind of vision of the Zerg player, right? Because right now, he's sitting fairly in the dark, and he has to make that choice where he has so few sentries that if he goes to the hallucination, he's going to be lacking a lot of force fields to potentially try and defend this natural. It's like a frustrating decision to make. Like, is your opponent droning up behind this and taking a third? Or are they just making more units and preparing for some kind of big roach attack follow-up or something like that?
Yeah, you know, you never really know with Zerg, especially if you can assume at this point they have expanded, and they will probably be armed with 2 injected hatcheries. So it can go either way. I mean, you make the wrong decision, and that could be it for you as Toss in this scenario. But it does look like Moosegills is trying to drone up a bit, although he hasn't taken a third yet. He's actually going to go ahead with this Roach Warren on the way right now. So and a lair, too. So I think he is actually going to commit to a 2-base timing attack, while Astrea is just trying to get a second base right now.
Yeah, and you know what? I think against what Astrea is doing, this may be actually a little bit more difficult, because Astrea's not trying to play this out super greedy. Oh, God.
Are they going to get an Astrea? Does force field at the very end. Very clutch force field.
In the force field? Like, it's actually physically trapped in the force field. But, oh, center on the low ground. Got a re-force field in the main. Oh, really well done by Astrea.
Yeah, and that was a very good catch by him. It almost looked like those Lings were going to get past, but not quite. So, yeah, not a great loss there for Moosegills by any means, but now he's starting to replace those Lings with Roaches, and he is looking to attack soon. He is also going to be building a third, though, so he is transitioning off of this, but he's going to try to make an attack with these Roaches.
I don't know what to think about this, though, because, I mean, again, like, Astrea is not going for like, okay, now that I'm defending against those Zerglings early on, let me go for immediately robotics facility into robotics bay and just like play super greedy or anything like that. I mean, Astrea got up a lot more gateways that are going to be very useful against any kind of big attack. He's getting the +1 weapons. Honestly, and I don't really know how well a big roach attack is going to do for Moosegills.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. And it just comes down to, I think what Moosegills really should do is go look and see if there's a third Nexus coming up anytime soon. That's going to be a huge key as to whether or not he can try to attack. And you know what? Even if he can't because he knows the Toss is on 2 base, he can, you know, afford to have a little map control here. See if there's a third, deny one if there's one that tries to show up, and then if the Toss moves out, he'll know and he can set up shop at home to defend.
Yeah, Hallucinated Phoenix also coming in for Astrea, so that kind of darkness and uncertainty about what the Zerg player is doing, no longer the case. There's more than enough Sentry energy to spare, and now, and seeing everything, seeing the lair tech is finished up, seeing a single evolution chamber being made, and more importantly, seeing that third expansion, I think that Astrea's got to be feeling relatively good. I mean, he can just make Immortals, get up his Twilight Council, get up +2 weapons. Actually, you know what? Droopy, this could turn into a +2 Blink Stalker attack again with a third planet.
Well, there will be some Immortals thrown in for good measure this time around.
There will be.
Yeah, and he still doesn't have a third, so, you know, Astrea, not Astrea, but Moosegills is keeping an eye on it. He's got a Ling here at this third base. He's been periodically checking on the third base to the left of Astrea's natural. So, you know, if he knows that there's no third, he's going to make sure he doesn't go play too greedy and just, you know, start taking expansions everywhere. He's going to be a little more conservative and get ready for the inevitable attack.
Yeah, Moosegills has an Overlord so close to that top left-hand third expansion, or I guess top center. And I would actually say that third expansion a little bit less common to see taken, especially with these kind of spawn positions. It's a good bit further away from Astrea's natural expansion, and you're kind of expanding toward your Zerg opponent, which can work out well, but also I don't know. It feels so vulnerable as a Protoss player. I guess it's a hard decision, right? Though, like no matter what, it's a hard decision.
Yeah, it always is. One thing though, the toss does always
Mhm.
have at its disposal is recalls. So if you accidentally walk into an ambush, you can
Oh my
see
God.
Astrea escaping like he did in the previous game.
Droopy, really quickly, we see Astrea hallucinating the Colossus and the Immortal in the mix. And that is actually really cute because he goes on, and I think he just like poked onto Creep just
Mm,
to reveal those units. And I was like,
yes.
hey, look, my Colossus and my multiple Immortals are here with the rest of my army. Like, are you making units? Are you ready to defend against my big 2-base attack? And Moosegills is like, oh shoot, makes so many more roaches. I mean, see 15 more on the production tab. And
Oh,
now
that is
Moosegills, or Astrea, yeah. He just says like, oh, well, actually, I have a third behind this. What are you talking about? What Immortals? What Colossus?
Yeah, I mean Moosegills does see the third, but he is, starting to pump out a lot more roaches instead of drones. He's only on 61 drones right now. So if he wants to make an attack here, it needs to do damage. It needs to do more than just simply trading at this point. And we'll see if he can manage
Oh,
that. Combination of time warp and force fields. Oh, a little burrow there to try to move past the force fields, but the observer still detects him. And we are seeing
yeah.
Moosegills actually run here. He's gonna get sandwiched.
Oh man, he's gonna. Is he just gonna try and gun down the third or something?
I
Oh,
don't
he's
know,
gonna
but
pick
this
up a
is a
couple
rough
of units over
spot.
here.
Oh,
Oh,
this is
Moose
really.
Skills
Uh,
losing so much over there. Okay, Droopy, I'm gonna clarify something that you said because you said that Moose Skills has to make sure he doesn't trade over here, but he also has to make sure he doesn't give away a lot of units for free. But I mean, he's doing some good damage, he's picking up Immortals. I like the target fire on those, but at the end of the day, made so many roaches that you mentioned were not drones, and is not gonna really have accomplished anything besides killing off some of the Immortals and some of the tech of Astrea. Astrea gets up a third and evens up the base count as a Protoss player.
yeah, and I mean, Moosegills did absolutely no economic damage whatsoever. And if you look at the units lost right now, it's reflected in how cost ineffective he was these last few
Mhm.
minutes, and it's going to catch up
Yeah.
to him. He's not looking so great in the economy department. Upgrades wise, he's behind Astrea right now, 2-1 as far as attack. And right now he's going to be able to remax on roaches. But how long is that going to last him facing additional robo units being thrown into the mix from Astrea? I don't know.
Yeah, kind of interesting move out from Astrea after having killed off so much of that army. I guess trying to make sure that Moosegills isn't just playing a little bit too greedy and not reproducing an army, maybe trying to like drone up behind it. So I guess I can kind of understand it, but I really want to make sure that Astrea doesn't overcommit. But I mean, the one overcommitting right over here is actually Moosegills trying to go for a roach run by at the right, but ends up getting caught out of position. But ooh, this may actually work out a little bit better. These roaches going to the third, but ah, god, the Wallen is actually there to prevent them to getting into the mineral line.
Yeah, he's going to try to kill off those gateways. We'll be able to deal with 2 in the cannons, but not much else. Yeah, he's going to have to run for it now, absolutely, with the 3 Immortals bearing down on him, the Blink Stalkers with the superior upgrades. We're going to see Moosegills still continue to make roaches to replace these ones that are dying. But, there's only so long that a max roach army can really last in a late game PvZ, I think. He's going to have to add something else onto
Yeah.
this soon. Maybe Vipers. We'll see.
I mean, not only that, but they're out upgraded. +3 weapons is going to be finishing. We're going to see a Protoss player 2 upgrades ahead of the Zerg player, just in terms of weapons, not even to speak of when armor upgrades start getting mixed in, etc. for Astrea, when Astrea starts getting on a robotics bay or whatever other kind of tech. I mean, Infestation Pit is going down. I'm almost wondering if we're going to be seeing Swarm Hosts, but this is like one of the worst maps for Swarm Hosts.
Yeah, not a very good one. And we are going to see, well, actually Astrea is going to see this too because of that pylon in the center, that these roaches are going to go for a big attack right now. And they weren't even attacking anything for a bit here. He's trying to stutter step into these stalkers right now, even Burrow, but they're all detected. But now he's going to try to get surrounds on these stalkers. Is that going to do it for him?
I mean, it was a cool move. It was a good move, unburrowing and burrowing on top of a Protoss army, but a little too late. GG gets called. Astrea going up 2-1.
Yeah, I just feel the moves he made in that engagement exposed his roaches unnecessarily to fire and not turning that fire. And really, I just think Moosegills that game was perhaps just overplayed his hand as far as the aggression went. He just stopped droning, stopped teching, wanted to go for one big push, and it just couldn't have turned out worse for him. So
It's a
well,
hard call to make, though, right? Because
Yeah.
like you don't, especially like actually you have to go back to like, for example, Astrea having hallucinated the Colossus and the Immortal. It seems like you only hallucinate 2 units, not the biggest deal in the world, right? Well, it's actually really really smart because of that. Moosegills thinks there is a robotic spade down. There's probably not going to be like a third expansion coming up just yet. I think the Overlord scouts it out a little bit later, but right after all the roaches have been produced. At least that's what that's the understanding that I have of how that played out. So I mean, Moosegills had made so many of these units for the big defensive, the big two-base attack, that he knew as soon as he scouted that third wasn't actually going to come. So then he had to be aggressive, right? He had to. He felt like I didn't make drones when I was supposed to have been making drones. I have to do something with these guys, right? And I think that it sort of spirals out of control from there. And after you're behind, like you say, I either have to play super economically greedy or to play incredibly aggressive. And he played incredibly aggressive and it just didn't work out. So I can kind of understand where Moosegills is maybe thinking, but I agree with you, man. I don't think it worked out very well for Moosegills.
Yeah, so, well, the result of that is now Astrea, after being down 0-1, is roaring back. He's up 2-1 now, and we are going to head into game 4 shortly. So I suggest I don't know who controls the stream, but I suggest to that person you should create a poll. Where should Astrea take Droopy for dinner? Should it be Chipotle, or should it be Soup Plantation? Oh, yeah, this is a joke for now, but I'm gonna do everything I can to turn it into something real. So,
I mean, okay, for those who don't know, there was like an entire lead up in the chat before we were actually getting the matches started. We were all talking and everything, sitting around, getting everything set up, doing the map videos and everything. And Droopy here is just like, hey, so I saw on your Wikipedia page you live in blah blah blah, this area and everything, and like it slowly devolved into Droopy here pinpointing like the location that Astrea lives, and it was like pretty sure that if you had lock picking skills, you could just like tap Astrea on the shoulder and be like, hey, look, I know that this information will be like 5-10 minutes late, but Moosegills has this hidden expansion in this other corner over here. You might want to check on that. Okay, I'm gonna go back to casting. Like, you guys live really close to each other.
yeah, actually, what's funny is if I turn my webcam right now, he's sitting right there. No, I'm just kidding. But
you actually live in the same apartment. Oh my God, he's your roommate.
That would be interesting. No, my roommate's too busy playing COD, the new COD.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna watch some people who are playing the greatest game on Earth, and that's StarCraft 2 up here in the top right-hand corner. We got one of those players. It is representing Root Gaming, and currently up 2-1. It is Astrea.
Right. And on the, middle left-hand side, it's going to be the player from Complexity. He came out to a great start, but, he's going to try to, get some of that swagger back, tie this back up so we can have an epic match point game here, guys. This is a best of 5, winner of which will win $10. So let's see if this player right here can, get the momentum back. So this is going to be the Red Zerg guys, Moosegills.
The new poll after the dinner one. How much swagger does Moosegills have? That's a real question. Actually, you know what? If that one doesn't become a poll because, we're busy doing the other poll, go tweet at both of these players and let them know how much swagger each one of them has. I'm sure they would love to know.
Well, with a name like Moosegills, yeah. I'd say
oh my God,
he's got some pretty good swag there. Do you know what that name means? I don't know. I'm not familiar
where
with
it came from. Like where swagger? Oh, where Moosegills?
No. Moosegills. Yeah, Moosegills. Yeah.
I actually don't know. I would love to know though. That would be very interesting to find out.
Something we might want to ask him.
I guess maybe it's like, there's like catfish out in the sea. So he's just like, well, why isn't there a moosefish? Wouldn't a moosefish have Moosegills? These are the philosophical questions that you have to think about when it's 4 a.m. and you've been playing StarCraft for like 12 hours, as I'm sure Moosegills does every day. But in those 12 hours of practice every day, I'm sure that Moosegills has discovered something that a lot of other Zerg players have, and that's the fact that if you go 3 hash before pool against the Gateway expansion, what does your Gateway expansion opponent really do about it?
Yeah, he's coming completely out of left field here. Every game we've watched Moosegills go so far has been hatch or
Mhm.
not hatch first, pull first in some kind of
Yeah.
pull first opening, with varying levels of aggression following that. But this time around, it's completely the opposite. Three hatch for pull, and maybe on Catalina LE, a map of this size, maybe he can hide behind that for a little bit and see if he can get away with it. Will be interesting to see when Astrea finds out how he responds.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you're up, this is like identification also, I think, of what Astrea has been doing, opening up with the gateway expansions every game. Because normally, 3 hatch before pool, it's very easy to punish actually if you're up against a Forge first. But if you're up against even a Nexus first can kind of try and punish if you get the Forge afterwards. If you're up against a gateway expansion, I mean, what are they gonna do? Send a Zealot across the map? Awesome. The queens are out and are able to probably defend that with maybe like 4 or 6 Zerglings, right? It's really the kind of big attacks that might come off of 4 gateways or even like a 7 gate with very little gas, kind of like mass zealot warp in. Those are the kind of attacks that can maybe try and punch a 3 hatch before pool, but usually the economy already pays for itself by getting that earlier 3rd hatchery before a Protoss can really attack or do anything about it.
Yeah, and Astrea is now aware of the situation. I mean, just judging by the amount of drones in the first 2 bases he scouted, the lack of gas, he pretty much was looking for that third to see if it was up, and indeed it was. So Astrea now balls in his court as far as how he wants to respond here. He is already on his way to getting Warp Gate here. The tech, of course, is going to be a big factor if he's going to go with Robo, go with Stargate. Or if he, well, wants to, this isn't my personal favorite, but even just chase after the Zerg on bases. I've seen people more than willing to do that. So let's see.
Yeah, and I want to just give a shout out to the people controlling the polls in the chat, as we do end up seeing a couple of Zerglings being made and obviously a proxy pylon going down, all of that good stuff. But the consensus right now, it seems, is that the amount of swag that Moosegills has is over 9,000. That seems to be winning at 45.5%.
You know, I kind of have a question about this. Aren't answers 2 and 4? Couldn't they possibly be the same? Like a little bit is still less than Astrea. Actually, over 9,000 could be still less than Astrea. Because maybe Astrea has over 10,000.
We need another poll that determines how much swag Astrea actually has. But right now, I'm not going to lie, man. Right now, it doesn't look like he has more than Moosegills. Because Moosegills just shut that attack down hard. Oh my god, shut down the proxy pylon, shut down the first warp in of stalkers at the proxy pylon. These Zerglings have just absolutely decimated that attack.
Yeah, that's the worst position you want to be in as Toss, where you want to punish your opponent's 3 hatch before pull, but not only could you not do it, it actually just backfired in the worst possible way. Now Astrea is trying to push out here a little bit, take out these Zerglings, which he'll be able to do just fine, but Moosegills now on 3 bases with, injects, full injects, he's going to be able to rocket ahead here, and Astrea has no choice but to try to continue to do something about it here by pushing out.
And I mean, this is only an attack off of 3 warp gates and in a a robotics facility, which I mean, it's not super all in, but this has already been delayed, right? Like, this is already going to be a light pressure push, and now it's going to be an even lighter pressure push that honestly I feel like Moosegills is probably going to sit around over here, make a couple of units, and then realize, like, wait a second, you actually can't really do too much over here. And then the recall is just going to happen. And I think that the big question here is how many units does Moosegills make before the recall actually ends up happening from Astrea? Because Astrea is still baiting out units right now.
Yeah, that's got to be the thing he's going for here. I mean, he's telegraphing to Moosegills, hey, I'm trying to push here, but he hasn't actually done it yet. And it's been a minute since we started talking about this, so you're right. He's totally just trying to force out some units from Moosegills, try to make him dedicate less to workers, and so far that seems to be what's happening. And you know what? Remember 2 games ago, you mentioned that Astrea was hallucinating, units to feign a bigger army. He's pulling that kind of card again, and it worked the first time around. Will it work here again?
Well, we do end up seeing this army coming around. The Zerglings get a big surround, but there is the recall. And here's going to be the big question. The entire army is taking out that proxy pylon. What's left in the main base right now, Droopy, for the Warp Prism?
Oh, that's a good point. Astrea trying to bait away Moosegills' army. I mean, Astrea is doing everything he can here to try to manipulate his opponent. And
Yeah.
well, that Warp Prism does get forced off, but now it's, well, when is Moosegills gonna feel confident in making his big push with all these units he just made?
Honestly, I feel like right now would actually be a great time because this is that most one of the most vulnerable times for a Puddles player, right? It's when you're trying to establish your third, because there's that especially on. Oh my God, Droopy, cannot count the number of games I have lost on this map. I try to go out to establish that third, and I'm like, okay, Nexus is going up, time to defend. Oh God, and here comes in the giant swarm of units, and if I have my entire army positioned that third, the swarm of units goes to my natural, and I'm just like, I'm hitting my head, face palming into my keyboard so hard at how difficult this can sometimes feel for a Protoss player. But you know what? Moosegills has to control this out well.
Yeah, right. I mean, there is a wall over here at the natural, which things could get tricky if you just get lazy in A move with your Zerg units. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, are the Lings that get a surround? Force fields need to go up. They do to force the Roaches away, but not the Lings. Now they're coming up to try to protect the ground units from the Zerglings, but looks like
oh.
Astrea has been sort of swallowed up here. And, you know, the supply lead before this was basically at 40. It was going to be a tough battle regardless. Third base is now canceled by Astrea. He has to hunker down in his natural at 12:27 with a massive supply deficit. Moosegills looking really strong here.
See, Droopy, here's the thing. There are some times where your third expansion gets canceled, but the Zerg army may have to sacrifice a couple of units to do it, or, you know, you keep your army alive. It was just like, your third expansion gets canceled, you're like, oh God, do I retake the third, or do I go for the two-base all-in now? I don't think Astrea has an option there. I think that he has to try and retake the third because just lost so many expensive army units. He's going for the Templar Archive, so maybe he's still going to go for the big two-base attack. But I don't know how else it's going to work because Moosegills didn't lose that much over there and killed off almost the entire army of Astrea and the third. You got like the best of both worlds there.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the units lost right now, the quantity of resources that Astrea put into his dead units is pretty much twice that of Moosegills. That's never the way it's supposed to happen in PvZ. Zerg units typically are a lot more, you know, disposable than TOS ones. So Astrea, I mean, you know, even if he wanted to do an all-in attack here, it just wouldn't work. He's too far behind in supply. The only thing he can do here is try to make use of this Warp Prism and just go crazy. Like, you know, even throw down a Shrine, you know, when behind, go Dark Shrine,
yeah.
right? Hey, get a Dark Shrine, start warping in DTs at random locations, and just, you know, pray to the heavens that you're going to be able to, you know, wear down the Zerg as he's trying to defend multiple bases.
I think that's actually a really great way to think about it, is keep your opponent at home, because right now Moosegills is maxed out. What is the reason why Moosegills can't go for a big push out or a big engagement right now, where it is 126 army supply versus 81? Moosegills saying, you know what, the only thing I can think of is maybe that the Vipers are still getting the energy for the Blinding Cloud and for the pulls. And there's 3 Vipers and 3 Colossus. Droopy, that's some pretty easy math right there.
Yeah, I think it's 1-to-1. That's a good ratio for Moosegills. Those Colossus get swallowed up so quickly. No Blinding Cloud, though. Not enough energy for it left after the yoinks. But we're going to see Roaches and Hydras versus Zealots.
Yeah, nice micro from Astrea, keeping the Colossus alive a lot longer. I mean, these Zealots, they're doing work. The Archons, they're doing work. But it's just the pure numbers. It doesn't matter, Droopy, because the numbers are a little bit too high for Moosegills. And even with the cute, awesome Warp Prism micro, Moosegills is going to even up the series again, 2-2.
Excellently done by Moosegills. I think, you know, he decided to play a lot more macro-oriented this game. 3 hatch before pulled, that's pretty much as greedy as it gets. And he wasn't punished for it. And that pretty much set himself up for just a cruise, like in the later half of the game.
It was actually like almost the opposite of being punished for it. He went for it, and then Astrea tried to invest in kind of like the 3-gate aggression. That's kind of like light aggression, but still trying to like make something happen. If you get really lucky, then you're like, wait a second, I can kill off the third. And actually, that just got shut down so unbelievably hard that you lost the pylon, lost the probe, and delayed warp-ins and everything. Like, the fact that Astrea went for the attack actually ended up working out better for Moosegills than if Astrea was just like, well, let me tech up a little bit and try and go for a bigger two-base attack a little bit later on. Like, I think that Moosegills very, very happy in that game. You know what? I'm noticing a trend here, Droopy.
Yeah,
Third expansions. That's what
it
a
is
lot of
key.
these games seem to be coming down to right now is
Yeah.
whether or not Astrea can get up that third expansion, whether or not Moosegills can deny it or at least put a lot of pressure on it.
Yep, that is definitely what it's come down to in these games, and I expect nothing different in Game 5. I will say though that last battle between Astrea and Moose I thought actually went a lot
Was
better for Astrea than I
close.
thought it would.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, he was 80 supply. Let's
Yeah,
80 supply down in a game where you can only have 200 supply. He had almost half the supply of his opponent, and it
yeah,
almost ended up working out okay for Astrea.
yeah.
So it really was a large combination of a lot of factors that allowed Moosegills to get to that point. But even then, Astrea, like if a couple of things go differently, Astrea still has a great shot at this.
Yeah, I mean, I thought after that battle, if Astrea had any kind of economy to basically replace what he lost, he could have,
Hmm.
the game would have gone on. But of course,
Yeah.
we know what happened before. So
Alrighty. Well, we're going to be jumping into game number 3. The map is going to be
5.
Deadwing.
It's Game 5.
Sorry, game number 5. Wow.
Time flies,
I was
though. I'll
thinking
tell you
best
that.
It does, man. I could seriously watch like these guys play all day if it were not for the fact that we also have really awesome matches coming up after this between Destiny and Stephen Bonnell Destiny and Nathanius, aka Nathaniel. What's Nathanius? Fabricant? Fabricant? I don't even know how to pronounce his
I
last
don't know how
name.
to pronounce it either, but we all know who he is. That's what.
Yes,
That's good
exactly.
enough. Yeah.
The top placing foreigner, by the way, in the Alima League, the only foreigner I believe to have ever placed with a top 4 finish in the Alima League, a Korean league. Just putting that out there. Nathaniel's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he may be best known for as a caster, but he's not a shabby player himself. But
Yeah.
let's not get too far ahead of ourselves here. We do have the ace match guys in this best of 5 for the rights to take Droopy out to dinner, and we are going to have it happen on Deadwing LE. What do you think about this map? I like this map, but I don't know.
Oh my God! You know what? We've been talking about third expansions. Let's
Yeah.
talk about fourth expansion on this map. Oh my God! Talk about easy to take expansions. You know what? We're gonna talk all about that a lot right now. No, Curran, go back to the player. Curran, go back to the player. We're gonna introduce these guys first. This is fun up here. In the top left-hand corner of the map, top of the orange Zerg player representing Team Complexity is Complexity's Moosegills.
All right, and on the bottom left, fellow San Diegan from Root Gaming, guys, Pink Protoss player, and well, he won 2 games in quick succession, giving himself the lead. But last game, Moosegills was able to tie things back up. So now it's all come down to this for all the marbles, guys. Is going to be the player from Root Gaming, Astrea.
And for those wondering, by the way, I did just mention the name Corinne because we actually have Droopy and I are actually, here's the thing, all right? Casters are very lazy, all right? We don't like to move around a lot. We just like to watch StarCraft and talk about it with friends. That's basically what Droopy and I get to do. And Corinne here is the one observing, doing all the hard work, putting up all the overlays, transitioning, doing all the cool sweep-ins and everything. And watch, Corinne, do the cool sweep-in on the spawning pool. There we go. Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Oh my God, it's a 3-dimensional object. So big shout out to Current TV for doing all the observing today.
Yeah, observers are definitely very underrated because you don't see them, you don't hear from them, but they're responsible for everything you're watching in so many ways. So yeah, definitely big thanks to Curran, who's been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah, it's been around for a while and definitely one of my favorite observers. But you know what, Droopy? These 2 players have been working pretty hard as well to get good at StarCraft, this lovely game that we watch. So let's talk a little bit about them and explain to me why you also agree with me. I think that you agreed with me about why 4th expansions are what we should talk about on Deadwing.
Oh man, just the way everything's so clustered up with very limited choke points to enter or leave a player's territory. I think this is the map you would want for for an ace match, because we can see
Mhm.
both players macro to their heart's content, late game situations. How better to end a series that has been back and forth like this one?
And I want to note that I also feel like Astrea may, just by the way that the series has been going so far, Astrea may end up being the happier one in this situation. Because again, the time that we've been seeing Moosegills actually take the games is when he's able to put on a lot of pressure on that third. And it's very difficult to do that same kind of level of pressure when there is that uphill ramp that you have to go to the third. And it's also defend, like the natural expansion, you don't really have to worry about it. So your units are always going to be in position over there. It's going to be really, really difficult, I think, for Moosegills to take advantage of Astrea the same way he's done in the last games. So you know what? We're already seeing a bit of a mix-up. What do you see in the production tab, Droopy? I see something I don't usually see at the 5-minute mark.
Burrow. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting to burrow there. And, well, what's he going to burrow here? Well, it looks like he just has a spawning pool thus far. So that's going to be interesting to see what he decides to do with that. Maybe just even something as simple as burrowing a Ling to keep the toss from taking a third. You never know.
God, that would be some next level play. Oh, I have not seen that ever. Like this early on, I've always thought about it and been like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if you just started denying expansions really early on by burrowing a Ling? But we may very well actually see Moosegills execute this live here for us in the ace match. Been saving his cards for the good stuff.
Yeah, I think a decision like that, though, has to come down to just you either a little bit of metagame, a little bit of risk taking, because if the toss had no plans of expanding, you spending that time and that amount of resources to research that ability, not going to pay off. But if the toss was planning to expand, then, he'll be sitting on resources. He'll have delayed his tech. It'll pay for itself. But
I think you're right. I don't think that Astrea was looking to expand. We got 5 gateways coming down for a very early push.
Yep.
Is this actually just... Is Moosegills just gonna keel over here because he went for this super awesome strategy at the wrong game? Oh no.
Boy. Force fields limiting the ability for those Lings to get out, so they burrow. So it is coming into use here.
I'm liking it. I'm like, oh yeah. Actually, that's a really good point. Whenever the force fields go down, he can just burrow and wait for the force fields to expire. Unfortunately, he just doesn't have enough Zerglings to really make use of it yet.
Yeah, not to mention, well, when you're burrowed and I can't attack your Lings, okay, well, I'll just kill this giant hatchery here. No problem. I'm not complaining. Well, if I'm Astrea, that is. So.
Zerglings burrowed over here. They're going to wait until the sentries are directly underneath them. He goes for the big surround, comes in with the rest of the Zerglings from the other side. Force fields go down a little bit on the later side, but there's just so many units available for Astrea.
Oh man, we are seeing these Zealots now just wreak havoc on this natural. Drones need to be pulled. Roaches are starting to come out, but is it too little too late? Because they're not going to fight. That's the ace match, folks. GG. And Astrea is going to take a very, very impressive victory here. 3-2 as the metagaming going on there, I think. Moosegills thinking, oh, he's got to be like trying to play greedy here. This is Deadwing, for goodness sake. But
yeah,
it was the exact opposite.
That was seriously. Thank you for bringing up again the fact that it's Deadwing. It's a 4-player map. Let's put this in context, Droopy. We were talking about not just the Zerg player, the Protoss player taking 4th expansions. We were thinking about long macro drawn-out games. Astrea's just like, no, we're ending this now, all right? Because he's got your back, Droopy. Astrea taking the series, gonna be treating you to lunch or dinner or something at Chipotle or soup plantation or something. At least that's what you want to keep believing for a little bit longer. I don't know if Astrea's gonna agree with you on this, but you know what? Astrea looking pretty damn good in that series, man.
Yeah, that was an impressive win. But, both players had great wins in that series. And that's why best of 5 can just always end up being so crazy to watch is, you have so many games in succession and players will try to adapt to what they played against the game before. And we saw a little bit of that too with Moosegills, deciding to go for 3 hatch before pull. Like that's in response to what he saw the games before that. So I think it's great to see how these players react in those kinds of situations. So
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Definitely. And with that being said, I do want to remind you guys it's actually very much worth checking out both of these players. They're actually both North American players who I am a huge fan of, and I know both of them have been working very, very hard. You can actually follow on Twitter, Complexity Moosegills, at COL_Moosegills. And I believe that Astrea is at just root Astrea, but I want to make sure that there's no. Okay, yeah, it's just at root Astrea. There's no underscore or anything. I know a lot of root players put an underscore after the root, but it's just root